a state whose territory a ship is registered. Any state may grant to a ship the right to sail under its own flag. Ships located within a coastal water are subject to a more sophisticated coastal state jurisdiction and combination of a flag state. The right of a state comes with a number of obligations to confer nationality towards a ship. The ship's flag was an obvious way to recognize the allegiance of a ship and determining on how to treat the allegiance on board. These rights were inserted in the Article of 94 Clause 1 until 94 Clause 7 in United Nations Conventions of the Law of the Sea. Article 94 Clause 1 of United Nations Convention is discussing about which flag state should exercise jurisdiction. Flag states are obligated to maintain a register of a ship to fly its flag. This is according to the Article 94 Clause 2 of United Nations Convention. Flag states according to Article 94 Clause 3 of United Nations Convention, saying that they are imposed with the responsibility to ensure security with regard to these obligations and all the maintenance. Article 94 Clause 4 saying about how those measures are taken seriously to ensure that each ship is surveyed by a qualified surveyor of the ship. The right of a flag state is also available in Article 94 Clause 5, 94 Clause 6, and 94 Clause 7. Article 8 Clause 1 of United Nations Conventions of the Law of the Sea defines that internal water as the water on the landward side of the baseline from the breadth of the territorial sea, and coastal state has full sovereignty over its internal water. In regards to any illegal acts on the vessel, flag states are subjected to coastal state jurisdiction, administrative, and legislative power. Therefore, flag state has jurisdiction to enforce and to adopt law in conform to the coastal state's regulations on navigation. This is stated under Article 25 Clause 2 of United Nations Convention, Article 211 of United Nations Convention saying about how flag state has jurisdiction over the marine environment within internal water. Article 218 and Article 255 giving flag state authorization and enforcement upon the internal water. There are also has Article 219 too that saying about how financial security of the flag state need to state about.
The breadth of the territorial sea shall not be exceeding 12 nautical miles measured from baselines. All states include flag state has the right to innocent passage. The criminal jurisdiction on the foreign ship is under the jurisdiction of flag state flying their vessel as stated under Article 27 of LOSC. Flag state has jurisdiction to arrest and investigate crimes that occur in their ship. However, the coastal state will interfere if the consequences of the crime extend to the coastal state or the crimes affect the peace of the country or good order of the territorial sea. Besides, the coastal state may also interfere if the master of the ship or by diplomatic agent or consul of the flag state requests from the assistance of the coastal state. According to Article 31 of LOSC stated that if the warship caused damage in the territorial sea, the flag state will be responsible for the damage. The flag state has the jurisdiction to adopt laws and regulations on the ship to prevent pollution. The flag state must ensure that the vessel comply with applicable international laws and regulations that have been adopted by a competent international organization such as International Maritime Organization (IMO). The flag state must enforce punishment by its vessels when they violate the laws and regulations. In order to act as deterrence to the violations, the strong penalty must be imposed. Examples of pollution are atmospheric pollution and dumping at sea. Human trafficking is an illegal activity that may occur on the sea. Flag state has a jurisdiction to enforce laws upon immigration and anti-human trafficking laws on vessels flying its flag. The flag state has the complete legal power to adopt and enforce laws prohibiting the transport and trafficking of humans on the territorial sea. Another activity is illegal, unregulated, and unreported IUU fishing. IUU fishing refers to fishing activities conducted by vessels that contravene the fisheries laws and regulations. The flag state has jurisdiction to prescribe and enforce laws to prevent IUU fishing in the territorial sea. The flag state has the obligation and the complete legal power to adopt and enforce law against overfishing in the territorial sea. Regarding the marine mammals in the territorial sea, the flag state has the obligation and the complete legal power to adopt and enforce laws to promote the protection of marine mammals in the territorial sea.
Contiguous zone is a zone that is not extended beyond 24 miles from the baselines of the territorial sea. Generally, all vessels enjoy the principle of navigation within the contiguous zone. However, they are subjected to the limitations under the Article 33 Clause 1 of Law of the Sea Convention. So first, the flag state has the jurisdiction of innocent passage within the contiguous zone under the Article 19 Clause 1 Law of the Sea Convention, where the flag state needs to adopt, enforce, and comply with all the generally accepted international regulations and safety. This is to prevent from any collision and to prohibit its vessels from engaging in any non-innocent activities within the contiguous zone. Next, according to Article 33 Clause 1 Clause B Law of the Sea Convention, the flag state has the jurisdiction on the criminal matter where it needs to authorize its vessels, cargo, and crew to be investigated by the coastal state if the vessels was suspected violating the customs, fiscal, immigration, sanitary laws of the coastal state within the contiguous zone.
Continental shelf is defined as a natural extension of the continent or 200 nautical miles from the baseline of the coastal state. Flag state has jurisdiction to prevent the dumping at sea on the continental shelf. The flag state has jurisdiction to enforce the dumping laws and regulations applicable to vessels in its flag state registries and must also enforce the pollution laws and regulations adopted in compliance with the LOSC and international rules and standards. On the continental shelf, the flag state has freedom in navigation, fishing, and freedom of scientific research. The investigation and institute proceedings will be carried out by the flag state. In accordance with the international law, the flag state is responsible for monitoring the fishing activities of a vessel. Article 117 specifies the responsibility of all states to take or cooperate with other states in taking such steps for their respective nationals as may be appropriate for the protection of the living resources of the high seas. This provision also extends to the continental shelf. The flag states need to take necessary measures to conserve living resources and marine mammals.
EEZ is the zone that extends to 200 nautical miles from the coastal state's baseline. When entering into the other state's EEZ, the flag state has the primary jurisdiction to ensure its vessels meet the generally accepted international regulation and the anti-pollution standards. In regards to the navigation and pollution within the EEZ, the flag state has the jurisdiction under the Article 211 Law of the Sea Convention, where it needs to prevent, reduce, and control of pollution for the marine environment from its vessels. This mainly relates to the operational discharges, atmospheric pollution, and underwater noise. Thus, in enforcing the jurisdiction, the flag state has to adopt and enforce laws which gives effect to the international safety and International Maritime Organization. The flag state also has the jurisdiction over illegal activities within the EEZ such as human trafficking, drug trafficking, piracy, and illegal fishing. Article 99 Law of the Sea Convention required the flag state to take the effective measures over the matters of human trafficking or slavery on its vessel. As for the drug trafficking offences, Article 111 Law of the Sea Convention, the flag state has the legal power to prevent or to take an action on its vessels in compliance with the coastal state rule. As for the matter of piracy, Article 100 simply gives the flag state the power to repress the act of piracy within the EEZ of a coastal state. In addition, the flag state also has the jurisdiction to prescribe and enforce laws in order to prevent the illegal fishing within the EEZ. In enforcing this jurisdiction, the flag state has to adopt the international regulations, for example, the compliance agreements and the UN fish stock agreements. These regulations were made so that the flag state has the effective jurisdiction and control over their fishing within the EEZ. And these regulations must be enforced in compliance to the coastal state rule.
Archipelagic waters include all territorial waters within archipelagic baseline and can draw a crossing line on individual islands around the mouth, base and arbors of the river in compliance with standard baseline laws. According to Article 49 Clause 1 of the Law of Sea Convention, the jurisdiction of the archipelagic state applies to the waters enclosed by the archipelagic baselines. Therefore, some archipelagic states have jurisdiction over their archipelagic waters and the privilege or jurisdiction of foreign states in archipelagic waters. The first authority is that the archipelagic state is expected to comply with the traditional fishing right of third states as referred to in Article 51 Clause 1 of the Law of the Sea Convention. In the case of foreign states, this right of fishing can be obtained in compliance with Article 51 Clause 1 of the Law of the Sea Convention by agreement between the states. International states also must require the authorization and consent of that specific state for the purpose of scientific study. According to Article 51 Clause 2, the second jurisdiction stated that an archipelagic state shall comply with existing submarine cables laid down by other states. This means that the archipelago state has a duty to comply with existing submarine cables, but this clause only applies to existing cables and no mention is made of pipelines. These articles also as a rule of authority and regulation to be practiced by foreign states and vessels. For the purposes of mining, due to its possession, all foreign states has no right to practice mining operation in the archipelagic waters of that state. The third authority is that with regard to overflight, Article 53 Clause 2 provides that international aircraft are entitled to overflight, but that they must follow specified corridors. This means that all ships and aircraft will enjoy the more comprehensive right to pass through archipelagic waters through archipelagic sea lanes. In a nutshell, in unique territories, both flag states and international vessels have their own authority over the sea zones. In practice, the extent of the coastal state's criminal jurisdiction over foreign merchant ships is stated in the bilateral consular conventions. On the basis of definition, the territorial sea can be seen to be under the jurisdiction of a coastal state. However, there are also some areas of the territorial sea where a foreign ship still has jurisdiction. Furthermore, the coastal state may exercise jurisdiction in the contiguous zone to prevent and punish infringements. For the continental shelf, with the jurisdiction of the flag state in the sea zone, the flag state has equal jurisdiction in a certain part. Moreover, although the jurisdiction of the flag state on the continental shelf is limited, it is necessary for the flag state to exercise its authority to protect the sea and its marine mammals. Both states enjoy the freedom of navigation, overflight, and laying of submarine cables and pipelines within the exclusive economic zone. On the seas of the archipelago, the naval dominance of the archipelagic state applies. However, territorial authority over these waters is described by the 7 considerations referred to below in the Convention on the Law of the Sea, that also applicable to the jurisdiction of the flag state. In addition, there is an opinion on this subject, while cooperation between both the coastal state and the international flag state is very necessary in understanding and complying with the jurisdiction over marine zones in order to preserve the well-being of all states, as well as business and commercial relations.